Hi, I'm Amy Northard, and today I wanted to show you how to record a pretty simple payroll within QuickBooks. So this is a sample company, so don't worry, I'm not showing you anybody's secure information. So we'll just make these sample transactions work out for this situation. So there's two transactions in here. The first one is going to be, we're going to pretend that that was the net paycheck that Sarah got paid. So that means that Sarah was paid $160. She had $10 of tax, employee tax withheld, and so she's actually getting to deposit into her personal account $150. So to make that happen in QuickBooks, you want to split the transaction. So the first thing we want to do is we want to show that Sarah actually got paid $160 as her gross wages. So we'll want to find something to do with wages in here. If we can't find that, then we'll add it. So let's add wages expense. And this detail type doesn't really matter, so I usually don't try to sift through there and find a good match. I just come over to the name and change it to what I want. So we'll call this owner's wages. So Sarah made $160 gross. That was her gross wages. And then we want to do payroll tax payable, because Sarah is basically giving you $10 to hold on to of her taxes, and you're going to pay it in to the IRS and state if there's state taxes. Okay, so there's a taxes and licenses expense deduction or category, but we don't want that. We want to create a current liability, and we just want to call it payroll tax payable. And we're going to do -$10. And we won't go into the accounting reasons for why that's negative, but this is how it will work out. So just remember, gross wages, that's going to be the total amount paid. So if your paycheck is normally $1,000, but you get paid, but you see, $850 deposited, you want to put $1,000 here and then -$150 here. And we'll add that. And then ignore the squeaky clean car. We're just adapting this sample company to our needs, but pretend this is the expense that you'll see come through where the taxes are paid. So we're going to split this one again. And $10 was for Sarah's personal employee taxes. So those are going to go to payroll tax payable. And if you want a shortcut to find it in the long list, just start typing. And we're going to do 10. So that -10 and this 10 will actually offset each other to be 0. So if you go look at that account on the balance sheet, it will end up showing 0 once you've completed this whole process. And then as a business owner, you get to deduct the employer portion of the payroll tax expenses. So what we're going to do is add an expense category, and we'll just see here. We'll call it payroll tax expense, and then I like to keep things kind of organized. So we'll make this a subcategory of taxes and licenses, but you don't have to do that. So now her employer portion of her taxes ended up being $9.99. You'll find this information from your payroll company. So there should be some type of payroll report that you can pull that divides out employee taxes and employer taxes. So again, employee taxes are going to go to payroll tax payable. Employer taxes are what you get to expense. So those are going to go under the payroll tax expense category. Then you'll do save and add. So now when you go to the balance sheet, you can find the payroll tax payable account. And there you can see the transaction that we did negative and then the positive, and they should always basically cancel out. And then let's look at that real quick on the income statement or profit and loss statement. Scroll down to taxes and licenses. This is the portion you actually get to expense. So this is your employer portion of the taxes. And then there's a lot of categories in here to look through, but wages, owner's wages should be somewhere. There we go. So her gross paycheck, $160, shows up here. So you can match that with what is in box 1 of the W-2 at the end of the year, and they should match up. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. So hopefully this helps explain the way you should report a very simple payroll. You know, if you have other things like retirement contributions, health insurance payments, and other things like that, it's obviously going to be a little more complicated, but this gives you some of the basics.